It would be a major upset if
Randy, you ready? The announcers. And Randy, you're up.
Hello, out there on the internet. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are getting ready for the team draft. Had a slight change in schedule. We'd initially planned to get through the semis before lunch, but Frank Karsten changed our plans, so we're now going to go with the team draft. It'll be Team USA versus Team Japan. Then they're going to go off and build their decks while we play out the semifinals. When the semifinals are over, we bring back USA and Japan to play out the matches. So this team draft, if you haven't seen one before, it's Team Rochester draft. So USA is on the left side of the table. Japan is on the right side of the table. They're going to open packs face up and then take turns drafting them. And then when the games are played, they just play across. So the champions will play, the runners-up will play, and the third-place finishers will play. And it really changes draft when you know exactly who you're playing and you know exactly what cards they're going to draft. Pretty interesting format. It's believed, I think, do you agree with this? People call it the most skill-testing format on the Pro Tour.
Well, since it's the only Pro Tour I've ever done well in, I'll have to agree with you.
Fair enough.
Neil Reeves is one of the has been actually on a number of the really successful.
That's a good point. He's a master of this format.
We were talking earlier about his forays with Courtney's Boys and Courtney's Men, and Courtney's Boys was with Bob Marr and Gary Wise. And even though Bob Marr has probably got the more impressive resume, Neil was the guy who called those drafts.
Wow.
So we're dealing with one of the most experienced drafters in this format.
And Antonio DeRosa has been red hot. He's a level 5 member of the Pro Tour Players Club going into next year. John Sonny, no slouch. He's won 2 Grand Prix this year, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's the lineup for Team USA. You look at the other side, and Team Japan includes Masashi Oiso, who might be the best player in the world. Looks like he's depending on whether they win or lose this match, he's going to be either 3 points back in the Player of the Year race or 4 points back in the Player of the Year race. And he skipped a Pro Tour. That's where all the points come from usually.
He also has 5 Pro Tour top 8s and only 16 Pro Tours.
Yeah.
So he's
ridiculous
player. A Hall of Fame start to his career.
Kenji won Player of the Year, but I am not sure. I mean, Masashi is at least as good as Kenji is. I would say, actually, that Masashi has a more complete game.
I agree with Olivier's idea that there should have been a 3-way tie.
Meanwhile, the Japanese national champ is the wild card here. Takuma Morifuji, not very well known. He's sort of a almost casual player. Like, he plays Japanese nationals every year, but no international experience before this.
He certainly doesn't have the experience of Iiso or Shimura.
And Iiso Shimura is their third, exactly.
People don't know Shimura, but he's an up-and-coming Japanese pro, and next year he's going to be joining a lot of the other big stars.
Wow.
On the road.
So that's the lineup. That's Team USA. That's Japan. And it looks like they are now ready to draft. So we'll wind down this little bit of pregame and get ready for the team finals draft. Stay tuned. All right.
Welcome to the draft.
There they are. Welcome to the Team World Finals. I'm Randy Bueller here with Brian David Marshall. We're getting ready to watch these guys draft the decks that they're going to use to battle it out for the world's team title.
Japanese are opening, which means it's called kicking off in Team Rochester.
Yeah, they won the flip and chose to kick off, which is unusual.
Which plays perfectly into the American team's hands. They want to receive. These two teams now have played twice. Both times the Japanese have won the flip, so they don't know what the preference is on the American side.
It's true. Both times the Japanese have chosen to kick off. This pack has a Thunderstorm Trumpeter, Gather Courage. It's got a Aura Touch Mage. Graveshell Scarab is probably the highlight. And then there's a Dismisser.
5 seconds.
What do you think happens here?
I think, well,
They
certainly.
always put Boros in the middle, right? Veteran Armor goes to Morafuji.
And then Graveshell Scarab
Draft.
should go next. No, the Dismisser.
Dismisser, they ship a Graveshell Scarab.
Draft.
Dismisser's a card people are really starting to see as very powerful.
Sunny
Draft.
just took Clinging Darkness. And then Antonino
Draft.
took the Trumpeter, and then
Draft.
Neil takes Graveshell Scarab.
So-
So that Trumpeter to
Draft
DeRosa
again.
is very interesting,
I
right?
guess the American team decided
Draft.
not to change their strategy, which has had red, white, and the B seed all
Draft.
weekend. They've been doing blue, black on the Sani side, red, white, or Boros for
Draft.
Antonino, and green, black, touching white for
Draft.
Neil Reeves. And then one of the reasons they like to receive is
Draft
they
again.
like to be able to adjust their strategy, sort of fine-tune them
And draft the
based
last
on
card.
the cards their opponents are opening.
Oiso. Open and lay out the booster.
With a Dismisser in Oiso's deck, though, that's not going to be a mirror match. Neil Reeves is going to be, looks like he's going to go green-black. Sometimes he goes green-white in that seat with a Scarab. He's probably leaning toward the green-black, but Oiso looks like he's going to draft blue-black.
Oiso has been drafting blue-black every time I've seen him this weekend. He's had blue-black or even blue-black touching a little green in that seat almost every time.
Here's the second pack, and it's Moss Dog. Looks like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at
Got
the wrong
Trophy
packs.
Hunter, Drew and Grudion, Selesnya Evangel, Galvanic Arc. This is quite a juicy pack.
What does Oiso take for his probable blue-black deck?
He might take Drew and Grudion here, actually.
5 seconds.
Look at a green splash. Huh.
Draft.
And he does. He takes the Grudion.
Draft.
The Selesnya Evangel.
Evangel with the
went
sun.
to Sunny. He must be taking that as a D draft.
Interesting.
And
Draft.
because the Trophy Hunter, which is excellent against blue-black,
Oh, yeah.
goes to
That's
Neil. So the Selesnya Evangel was a D draft to
Draft.
stop one of their teammates from getting it.
Yeah, that's really smart. That's a
Draft
lot of the
again.
skill in Team Rochester is figuring out not just, I mean, every time you take
Draft.
a pick, you have the option to take away a card that your opponents might want.
Draft.
Team USA isn't really lined up to have a green-white deck, which,
Draft.
I don't know, maybe that's
They,
less
they,
than ideal.
they don't really have a green-white deck.
Draft.
Neil will occasionally touch Selesnya in his Golgari
Draft.
decks,
Right.
but he never has more than 3 or 4.
And he started with a
cards.
Scarab,
Draft
so
again.
he's going to want to
Yeah.
win Golgari anyway.
Draft.
One of Neil's
Draft the
specialties
last
is really knowing how to
Lay out
long
the
range
first
cards or
booster.
bounce cards off the other team
Mhm.
also. So you give your opponents an opportunity to screw up if you take cards away from them.
All right, here is John Sunny's pack. Is it a Disembowel? Yep. Looks like Disembowel, Netherborn Phalanx.
Drift of the Phantasm, Sand Sower, Civic Wayfinder. Not a terribly exciting pack.
Team USA gets 3 picks out of this. I think they could have imagined doing a little better. I mean, Disembowel's good, and they don't give anything to the opponents, but...
5 seconds.
So
Oh, do they take Drift of the Phantasms for Sunny?
Neil's going to take
So Neil can take
Disembowel.
Disembowel?
Draft.
Yeah, Sunny takes, that makes sense.
Draft.
Sunny gets the defensive card. What did Sand Sower goes to
Draft.
Antonino?
Sand
Not
Sower's
super
excellent.
exciting.
Sand
Oh,
Sower's
it is the
excellent.
mirror. It's
Draft.
the Boros mirror. That's the really interesting thing about this Boros deck. It's red, white for
Draft.
Morafuji, and I think Team USA has a plan there.
Draft.
They feel like they know that Morafuji is going to draft Boros in the
Draft
Japanese
again.
center seat, and they think they understand if Antonino drafts a red-white deck
Draft.
that isn't beat down, that they can win. So the
Right.
key to their draft is
Draft.
actually a really strange card.
Right, they said no war torch
Draft.
goblins, no cell swords, and putting a very, very heavy
Draft.
emphasis on
Alabaster Wall.
Alabaster Wall. But it's
Draft.
called something else now.
Is it?
Yeah, Alabaster
Oh,
Wall.
right.
Again.
That was what the card was called the first time it was printed. But
Draft.
the 0-4 wall that taps
And
to
draft
heal
the
1
last
damage
card.
is
DeRosa, lay out your
tremendous
first booster.
against Boros. So when you know you're playing against a beat-down red-white deck, you know, that 0-4 wall becomes a really good card to have. All right,
This is
here's another
Jurassic
pack.
pack.
It looks like Guardian of Vitugazi, Brain Spoil,
So Ribbons of Night.
Sellsword Brute, Ribbons, Vine Lasher
Ribbons and
Kudzu.
Vine Lasher Kudzu. I think they're going to end up, probably D'ing one of those cards, and whichever card Neil wants more in his deck. He can take the Ribbons of Night. He can also take the Vine Lasher Kudzu. Is going to go to Neil.
And then Antonino will D up the other one.
Maybe Vine Lasher
Can they get
Kudzu
one-
is just. Maybe I'm just overrating that card.
Can they get one through to Sunny?
5 seconds.
You don't want to D if it's going to deprive your teammate of a 6th pick.
Draft.
No, he's going
Brain
to.
Spoil to Antonino, that's a D draft.
Draft.
And then
The
Ribbons and
Ribbons
Night.
will get
And
into
then
Neil
he's
Reeves'
Brain
deck.
Spoil.
Draft.
And you can easily get blue into that deck. So Sellsword Brute, the Japanese are playing into the American strategy if they can get the walls. I believe Benevolent Ancestor.
Draft again.
Benevolent Ancestor, that's it.
Draft.
Has anybody opened better so far, do you think?
Draft.
The open seem...
There have been no super bombs, really.
No hex. I mean, the Americans feel that they out-drafted the Japanese when they met in round 3 yesterday until Oiso opened up a hex. And they were even concerned that Oiso had opened up an Ethereal Usher, which would allow him to tutor for hex.
Draft the last card.
But the reality is
they
got smashed 3-0, so you really can't put the blame on the hex there.
All right, here's the next pack. It's got a Dog Pile, Screeching Griffin.
So the Americans only get one pick out of this pack.
Ally, Moldervine Cloak.
So the pick here is...
Bob Maher makes an appearance.
Bob Maher shows up in Neil's pack. How convenient. He can't do a Rochester draft without Bob. What's going on here?
Do you take Moldervine Cloak?
Takes Moldervine Cloak here.
You ship a Siege Worm and a Rootkin Ally.
Moldervine Cloak is...
No, I know. It's just interesting that they're shipping 2 green cards. Can the Japanese play both of them? I don't think they can. There's been a lot of good green open here, and not enough people planning to draft green to get all those cards into main decks.
Draft.
Yeah, there's the Cloak, of course.
Well, Oiso can be green, black, red, blue, splash blue pretty easily. So he might take a Siege Worm. Oh, no, the Siege Worm went to Shimura.
He's playing black-green. He's the Golgari drafter.
Right.
Another Sellsword to Morifuji, so he's got the aggro red-white. Wayfinder, interesting.
Wayfinder went into Sani's deck.
Oiso.
Yeah, that went to Sani.
Draft again.
Sani just took 2 green cards there.
Draft.
Interesting. Yeah, he takes Rootkin Ally. Is Sonny going to get into green somehow? He's got Rootkin.
Draft.
Well, again, he can be black, blue, green.
Wayfinder.
Draft.
Yeah, he's been planning to be blue-black. He's also got a Celestia Evangel.
Draft.
Like, should they audible him into green-white?
Neil took the Dark Confidant, by the way.
Again.
Ah, look at that smile. That's money.
Draft.
That's a rare, right?
And
that's a really popular card. You saw Carlos Romao was actually playing with 2 of those in a draft this weekend.
He had no idea if they were good and limited, though. He's just like, I don't know if these are good.
I have a pretty good idea of whether or not they're good and limited.
And
they're not.
Okay. They're what Brian Hacker used to call the cheerleaders. They look really good. They sit on the bench. You take them home after the game.
Absolutely. Is that a Flame Fusillade?
That is indeed a Flame Fusillade, along with a Fangtail.
Flame Fusillade has rescued many a crummy draft.
So this is DeRosa's pack, right?
Now this should be...
Oh, no, it's all the way back to
This should be, yeah.
Shimura pack. It's the last pack of the first direction. It's Ichiro Shimura's pack. The Japanese get the first 3 picks. They put Flame Fusillade into Ichiro's deck.
The Vision of Fangtail.
Fangtail in the middle. Is that Fusillade a D-draft?
And then you'll splash that card pretty consistently in the deck. It just wins the game when you draw. Last gasp for Oiso.
Draft.
Seems like a great pack for the Japanese.
Draft again.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Seems like they got 3 great cards.
The question is, in my mind, is whether Ichiro's actually going to get to play that Flame Fusillade. He's set up for black-green. You don't usually see black-red-green.
Draft.
I believe he has the Civic Wayfinder already. I mean, you just need 1 mountain for that card. That's one of the great things about this format. You can play 4 colors pretty easily if you're just splashing for 1 or 2 cards.
Draft again.
Yeah, the thing that you don't get in a black-red-green deck, though, is mana fixing.
Draft.
Right, there's no guild that crosses either. Your red doesn't touch either black or green. So
you're relying on Farseeks and Civic Wayfinders in that case.
Right.
Although you can just run a Signet. That splashes the 1 color you need. You can splash a red-white Signet if you need red.
All right, the pack's now switched direction. Ichiro Shimura opens this one, and he'll then get 1 card before it passes over to the Americans.
And there's the card that has been identified as the single best card you could open.
Celestia Guildmage?
Celestia Guildmage.
But nobody's Celestia.
Nobody's Celestia. Both Ichiro and Neil could.
Or Sane, who's got the Evangel.
Right, but he's not going to see that. Well, he might see it.
You think Ichiro takes it?
I'm almost certain Ichiro's going to just take that card right there.
Draft.
Yeah. Now
you can't pass that card.
Draft.
Your opponents aren't drafting Celestia.
Draft.
There's not a Celestia drafter at the entire table. That's got to be wrong,
It's
right?
green,
Draft.
and then if you're splashing just a 1 white, you can use,
But that's a good
either
point.
ability
Draft.
very easily.
That's an excellent point. You do get the green
The
ability.
card is phenomenal.
Draft. Draft again.
Interesting pick there. Neil took Quarter Calling.
Okay.
Draft.
Not a card that a lot of people haven't seemed to have come around on that
Draft.
card in limited yet. I like it quite a bit, but it's a combat
Draft.
trick. It's a free creature.
You feel good when your opinions match up with Neil's?
I love when my
Draft.
opinions match up with Neil's. I actually got vindicated on a number of my pick orders this weekend
Draft.
by Neil. So he's like, don't worry, you're right. They don't know what they're
Draft
talking
again.
about.
Draft. And draft the last card. Reeves, lay out your
All
second
right.
booster.
Neil opens
All
up his
right.
pack, sporting the Astros jersey.
Three Nolan Ryan jersey. 3 picks to the Americans. Any fastballs in here? Siege Worm.
Dive Bomber.
Griffin.
Fire
Demir House Guard.
Conclusion.
Hunted Lamasu.
Scatter the seeds. Is Hunted Lamasu the best of the hunted creatures?
No, Hunted Dragon is clearly the best of them.
How many of them do you play in limited?
I think you only play those 2.
Those 2.
And I'm Hunted Lamasu is not my favorite. I mean, it's great you play it, but
Right.
I have some heartbreaks with it too.
I have definitely had games where I didn't want to play
5
it.
seconds.
I think it makes the cut. Unlike
Hunted Dragon is
Control.
the first pick all
Draft.
the time. So
Siege Worm to Neil.
Draft.
Ichiro takes the Dive Bomber Griffin.
No, that was Antonino.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Draft.
We're going
Antonino.
the other way.
Of course.
And
Draft.
I didn't see John Sonny's pick there.
Draft.
Oh, John Sonny took the Demir House Guard. It's a great card. One of
Draft.
my favorites in this set.
Haven't really seen Antonino's red white deck
Draft
come
again.
together.
No.
I know they had a plan. They felt like
Draft.
we'll let Morifuji have the Sellsword
Draft.
Roots. We'll get a bunch of walls and the red white fatty deck,
Draft.
if you will.
That's kind of interesting. They let a Boros Fury Shield come all the way back
Draft.
around to Antonino.
That card's
But he
good,
took,
right?
he took War Torch. Oh, he's going to
He
get.
gets to bounce it.
He's going to bounce it off Neil there. He gets both War Torch
Draft
Goblin.
again.
Yeah, it seems like a great 14th
Draft.
pick.
I don't
And draft the
understand
last
why
card.
they took
DeRosa, lay out your
Golgari
second
Brown
booster.
Scale by Morifuji over the D-drafted Brown Scale.
That seems clearly wrong to me.
I don't understand that. Brown Scale is just a non-card to me. Lightning Helix.
That'll go right into Antonino's red-white deck. Sarku in this pack?
The Lobotomist. Scatter the
Snapping Drake.
Seeds and Fist of Ironwood. That's one of the cards that
Tidewater Minion? It's a good pack.
Snapping Drake probably goes to Sonny here.
Think
he
Sarku's
doesn't-
not good enough?
I don't know if he's... Oh, I guess it is. He just doesn't seem to be set up as a mill deck, though. He
5
might be,
seconds.
Really?
he might be going for the